Subsocial is a next-generation cryptocurrency-based blockchain social media platform that hopes to take all of the advantages of traditional social media and combine them with the power of cryptocurrency, NFTs, and smart contracts so that you can have a better monetization pathway as a creator, but you also have the ability to create your own social media platforms based on top of this underlying architecture. So it's exciting, it's interesting, and in this video, I'm going to show you all that you need to know about Subsocial. Hey everyone, and welcome. This is Robert with Altcoin Buzz, and in today's video I am super excited to bring you an overview of Subsocial. Now, before we jump into Subsocial, I kind of want to take a step back and talk about social media in general. We all use Facebook, we all have Instagram, Twitter. You're probably watching this video on YouTube. So existing social media, I know it gets a lot of flack sometimes for the data breaches, the privacy issues, and everything like that. But at the end of the day, there has been a lot of good, a lot of positives that have come out of social media. It's revolutionized the way we communicate, but on the flip side, there's also some negative issues with the data breaches and these companies that make tons of money off of their creators and only give them back pennies on the dollar. So creators aren't really being fairly rewarded for their content. Users are giving up their data. So there's a lot of room for improvement. And that's what Subsocial wants to do. It wants to take all of those benefits of traditional social media and combine them with the advantages of blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, and NFTs. So with that being said, let's jump just a little bit into Subsocial and see some of the advantages that it can offer over traditional social media. So some of the advantages that Subsocial hopes to introduce is a serverless public timeline. Now, in contrast to some other systems, this is going to be built and use IPFS. So you're going to be able to remove that need for that centralized web hosting authority such as Azure, AWS, anything like that. It's going to be using IPFS, which is decentralized, which offers a number of benefits, roles and permissions, built-in and dynamic roles to manage your community, and fine-grained permissions. Think of Discord rules and permissions. So within this, and this is kind of a balance, this is kind of an issue that a lot of blockchains struggle with. How do we keep censorship resistance while also not being overloaded by trolls and bots and spam posts, right? It's kind of that delicate balance. So the approach to this is that there's going to be kind of a dual system of moderation. So censorship resistance at the chain level. Obviously, anything you post to the blockchain is on the blockchain. However, what you can do is you can set rules within these different spaces. So if I create a layer in Subsocial and I call it the Rob social media platform, I can set rules within that platform as far as what's allowed, what goes. So it kind of gives the best of both worlds in that the content that you post is obviously written to the blockchain. However, it does give you the ability to moderate that, cut down on the spam, on the trolls as well. So spaces as DAOs. A DAO stands for a decentralized autonomous organization. And one of the things that I like about Subsocial is it's not just Subsocial. So when you think of Subsocial, you shouldn't think, oh, it's a Facebook equivalent. It's a YouTube equivalent. Subsocial is more like a protocol, a base layer, a platform upon which different types of social medias can be built. So I can build a Facebook equivalent, I can build a YouTube equivalent, I can build a Patreon equivalent on top of this. So each of these different equivalents would be called a space. So let's suppose I build a space that's called Rob Space, and it's broadly similar to Facebook. Within this, I can have different owners that can decide what the rules will be, how this space will be governed. If someone doesn't like my space, Subsocial gives them the power to create their own space that fits their purpose better. Treasury, obviously on-chain funding development for promotion of the ecosystem. User governance, again, this is one of the good things about blockchain technology, about these governance tokens, is that even with traditional social media, we don't have a lot of control. I can control what I post to Facebook, but I can't control what is done with that content after I post it. They can monetize it, they can demonetize it, they can block me from the platform. Even if I'm an investor in Facebook, I'm going to invest in Facebook. I'm going to have so little shares that even at that level, I'm really not going to have any direction over the platform. By contrast, with these decentralized systems, the governance tokens give everyone that holds these tokens a say in the development of the platform in the direction of where it's going. As someone that is primarily a content creator, this is something that's very important to me, and that is the monetization model on Subsocial. So how does content get monetized? How do you get rewarded? This is where I like Subsocial so much. So obviously there's going to be a tipping functionality. I can send donations or set up a subscription. So this is something that's common in blockchain-based social media. So PublishOX, you can send tips. ReadCash, you can send tips, but it's something that's obviously not that common on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, anything like that. This is the cool one. This is my absolute favorite. I know there's a lot of cool stuff going on with social media here with Subsocial, but if I could pick one thing that's my favorite feature, this is it. Rent or sell your posts as NFTs. So sometimes let's suppose that I'll write an article on PublishOX or Torum, and maybe I'll even make a YouTube video that gets tons and tons of views, right? The only way that I can monetize that is from people coming there and watching my video, which is great. But think about the possibilities if I can tokenize that as an NFT, and let's suppose I create my video about using the Wax blockchain, and that video is on my channel. Someone else, they might have a channel about the Wax blockchain, and they say, hey, you did an amazing job on this video. I could get a lot of hits on my channel. I'm a bigger channel. Let me use your video and we'll split the profits. This isn't possible with YouTube. This isn't possible with a lot of these other things, but it is possible with Subsocial. So you can tokenize that content that you create. You can rent it out, or you can completely sell it. So imagine renting a post for someone for a week, collecting royalties on that. The possibilities here for this are absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, if there's one thing that I'm super excited about for that platform, this is definitely it. Social tokens. Users can deploy tokens for their spaces and communities. This is what I was getting into with Subsocial. Subsocial, like I said, is not a singular platform. It's composed of multiple different spaces. So I can create a space about the Rob token cryptocurrency. I can create a space about the life of Rob and his motorcycles, right? And I can create different tokens within those spaces. It's kind of similar, and it reminds me of Hive, for example. You know that Hive has different communities. So we might have the Splinterlands community with their SPT token. What this does is it allows you to create value in one community and then transfer that token, trade that value to something else. So again, I'm kind of using the example of Hive because that's what I'm familiar with. I create a Splinterlands post, I get some upvotes in that community, and then I want to convert that to the native currency of the entire platform, Hive. I have the ability to do that. So creating your own spaces, creating your own tokens is immensely popular, and it's something that I think is a really good feature implemented in Subsocial. Smart contracts. This is something that I'll get into a little bit more in the white paper, but they have this idea that you can have social finance, and it's really cool. I'll get into it in a little bit. Promoted comments. Promoted comments and mentions set the cost at which people pay for guaranteed notification to the influencer. So again, just giving you another way to earn, another way to monetize. If you're creating posts that are getting tons of views, you can have a little bit of promotion there for these people that follow you. That can give shout outs, different things like that, and then ad. There will be direct advertisement slots, all controlled on chain directly without the middleman. So if I own the space, again, the life of Rob and his motorcycles, someone comes on there and they want to sell parts for a Suzuki, they can do that directly on my site without the need for middlemen. So anytime we cut out a middleman, they obviously pay a lower price for their ad, as well as me getting more of a share of revenue, so it works out for both parties. So I know we've talked most about the features of the site, and I don't want to bore you down with the white paper, but there are just a few quick points that I want to hit on before we get into the actual website itself. So I'm blown away by this, selling or renting your content. As I said, if you wrote a post on a topic, you have the ability to lease that, you have the ability to rent it, you have the ability to continuously profit from that. But on top of that, because we're implementing smart contracts, we can do so many more things. So a post can actually be owned, and this is the cool thing, because it's an NFT, it can be owned by multiple different authors, and the revenue for that post can be split up according to ownership share of the post. So let's suppose that I do the majority of the work, right? I write this amazing article, and just between me and my friend, we decide, you know what, I did about 80% of the work. Now, that being said, I am terrible at designing graphics. My friend, who's a graphic designer, he did about 20% of the work. He made an amazing thumbnail. He did the illustrations for my post. So we decide, you know what, I think, and we decide between us, it's a fair agreement, I get 80%, he gets 20%. We can implement that. The ownership of that post and the according payouts can be split 80-20. And that's the power of smart contracts. That's something personally that I don't really know that any other platforms are doing this. They might be out there, but this is definitely the first one that I've seen have it, especially in their white paper. We can create weekly contests. So again, the life of Rob and his motorcycles. I ask my fans, I say, hey, submit your posts about what you did with your motorcycle this weekend, and then I reward the top 3 people based on the number of views that they get, right? So I have this huge degree of customization and automation as well. I don't have to manually go through here and curate it. I can set up my smart contract to where it automatically distributes these tokens based on a specific characteristic that I implement in the smart contract. And then this is one thing that I did touch upon a little bit earlier, SoFi. So you know DeFi, decentralized finance. The team here wants this idea of social finance, or SoFi, where blockchain technology can revolutionize payments for social networks. So what they're doing is they're building a bunch of financial primitives that can impact the way that monetization, tipping, everything like that goes to these posts. The cool thing about this, and this is why I like this project so much, because they're really focused on building something bigger. So instead of just, hey, I can tip you for your post, it's going to be composable. So you know with DeFi, you can stack different DeFi protocols on top of each other. We can have a smart contract that goes to Uniswap, and then we can have a smart contract that provides liquidity, that stakes, and we can combine all of these things. Obviously, each of these spaces, these different communities, as I talked about, can have their own tokens, but we're going to have the function of a DEX to where we can trade between those. So if I earn a lot of tokens in one aspect, I can convert them to another community's tokens, or I can cash them out to some form of a stablecoin, which is in development. A couple more features that I want to go over in the white paper, and I promise we will get to the actual platform. It is on the way, but stick with me just for a little bit more, because these features are just blowing me out of the water here. Looking beyond this kind of version 1.1 pay-per-view system. So I could create a post where a user has to pay to view it each time. Obviously, if I have an incredibly popular post, this is something that could help me out. Here's the big one though. When you go on Facebook, when you go on Twitter, Instagram, really any social media platform, the algorithm that shows you content is designed to show you content in a way that maximizes the time you spend on the app and the revenue that you generate for the app. So they're not necessarily interested in showing you content that you might like the most. They're interested in showing you content that they think will keep you on their app, that will keep you viewing advertisements. Here's the cool thing about Subsocial. It's actually going to be possible to have a customized algorithm that determines what content you are shown. So there's different algorithms that could prioritize specific content. So one algorithm, for example, might show you content from authors that are similar to your favorite author. Another algorithm might show you content that's similar in structure to your favorite type of content, right? So it really gives you the ability to kind of choosing what algorithm you want that displays your news feed. And this is something that's going to be implemented through a marketplace. So it says there will be a marketplace for different algorithms that users can choose between different curation algorithms such that content and the user interface can appear in an order that best suits their preferences. Should one algorithm prove not to work, it can then be replaced with another. So suppose that you're on Facebook and you see all these spammy political posts, right? Everyone gets tired of that. I get tired of that. What if you could change your algorithm and now you're seeing videos of gardening or cute little cats, right? That's what Subsocial does. It gives you the ability not just to customize the spaces you build to earn, but really control your entire social media experience. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. With that being said, it's finally time to jump into the app itself. And now, like I said, this is something that's still being built. And if we show here, this is really even kind of a testnet thing. So as I go through this site, you're going to notice there is not a lot of content there. There's really not a whole lot going on at this point. This isn't something that I want you to hold against Subsocial, because remember, all these projects really that I bring you all are in the early phases. So try to keep in mind there might not be a lot there yet. I just want to give you an overview of what's going on. So in order to join Subsocial, you will first need to have the Polkadot framework installed for Chrome. We're going to go ahead and install that here. Going to the Chrome store and adding to Chrome. We will add that extension, and then when we go back, we refresh the page, we are able to log in and access Subsocial. In order to actually log into the site, we will need to create an account. Obviously, this is something just like any wallet that you ever create, whether it's a MetaMask, whether it's a Badger wallet, whether it's a Trust wallet. You're going to write this down. You're going to copy this. You're going to go ahead and save your seed phrase, and you're going to simply set up your wallet. Now, once you get that done, I'm going to jump back over to my main account because I already have my wallet set up so that way I can show you what actually goes on within the site. So once you log in, you actually have the ability to see a variety of different things. Now, like I said, not a whole lot is going on here right now. We have suggested posts, we have suggested stories. Really the only thing that I'm following at this point is the actual Subsocial space, but we have the ability of creating our own spaces, doing a variety of things. One thing that I will show you is you are eligible to get a little bit of a faucet so you can get some tokens to get started. So what you want to do, you want to come over here to the left hand side, and this little thing that looks like a dollar symbol, it's going to be a faucet. All you have to do, enter your email address and request your tokens. You actually don't have to receive updates. You can just click on the I accept the terms of use. Do that. It'll send an email to you, you click on it, and then you will get 0.05 SMN tokens to get started with. Now, these SMN tokens can be used for a variety of things, including subscribing to spaces. We also have the ability of creating our own space, so I can create whatever space that I want to. All I'm going to do right here is just go really quick through the creation process. So I can just create a variety of different things. I can upload an avatar, a few different things. And again, this is just completely a test demo. I'm going to create my space. It's going to ask me to sign this transaction. And right now you can see I have 0.0487 SMN. We're going to watch and we're going to see, because I would guess that it's going to take a little bit of those tokens. So what you can see simply by doing that, you use a little bit of those tokens, which is why it's so important that you're able to access that faucet. So like I said, really not a whole lot of stuff that's been developed yet. Again, this is something because it's in the very early phases, but I'll just go through and show you that you do have the ability. Obviously, this looks very similar. It's kind of like a Medium article, anything like that. You have the ability to go through, to read it, to comment, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and comment on this article just to show you the functionality that it does indeed work. I can leave an upvote, I sign this transaction, and then once this transaction completes, let's see, it will use a little bit of those tokens up. So again, you kind of do want to be a little bit judicious with your tokens if you don't have a lot, as far as what kind of likes you leave. And again, that's kind of a moderating feature. You don't want to go through spamming, because there is an actual cost to using each of those upvotes, comments, different things like that. One thing that I do want to show you, and this is something that you should have in mind, you can actually get a airdrop. They do have a faucet where you can get a little bit of tokens. Now, one thing that I did notice is that they give you 0.05 starting out. It did take me a little bit of tokens to follow Subsocial. So keep that in mind. They give you a little bit of tokens to kind of play around with to get started. You simply have to enter your account address and your email address. With that being said, I wanted to finish out by just giving a general overview of the roadmap as well as some of the partnerships. So they're currently supported by the Web3 Foundation, which they've delivered all 5 milestones described in their grant application. So that's one thing I always like with these new projects, and this is something that I always try to tell you all. There's the possibility that they could have absolutely massive potential, but because they're so new, they might not necessarily have an established track history, which is why it's so important to judge them by what they have accomplished. Have they met their milestones? Are they on track with their roadmap? Those are always things that I like to look at. Obviously not financial advice, just kind of my personal perspective on the matter. There is one of the first 17 projects to have been carefully selected by Parity to participate in the Substrate Builders program. So then looking at the roadmap, obviously this is something that's been in progress for a while. Q4 2019, IPFS integration, these decentralized communities, 2020, Q1, server-side rendering, full text search. As we keep going forward, we've got the Polkadot JS extension. Now, this is already things that have been accomplished, because obviously I needed that JS extension, as you saw, to install into Chrome and to log into the site. So these are all things that they've already hit with their milestones. Moving forward into kind of the planned to kind of the future things. Q1 2021, Telegram bot uploading to Substrate version 3, 2021 Q2, private sale and the public IDO, as well as tipping, a blockchain module. So creating posts as NFTs. This is where, like I said, a lot of this so far was in the building phases, and that's fine. Building is important. Having that solid foundation is definitely important. But moving forward, especially Q2 of 2021, this is when we're starting to see some of these amazing features roll out. So the IDO, the private sale, the tipping, the creating the posts as NFTs, all these things that really magnify that functionality that's already there. Q3 2021, audit of the Subsocial node, mainnet launch, becoming a parachain on Kusama. So even this, something with becoming a parachain on Kusama, this is something that you can see that they're talking about right here in their Twitter. So obviously huge developments, a lot on the horizon for this project. Overall, it's something that I'm really excited for. I think it has a lot of interesting features, a unique value proposition that it's going to be bringing not just to social media, but cryptocurrency fans, content creators, a lot of advantages for everyone involved. So as always, I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope you found the video useful, and I'll see you next time.